walking to? There's nothing open. Oh my God. Oh God, it stinks. Hey, what's up, Legion? My name is Sal, it's Christmas Eve, and this is another ExLog. Tonight, we'll be visiting a mall that spans over 1 million square feet, and despite having only existed for just 16 years, it's already at serious risk of closing for good. As always, I hope all of you are out there doing well and enjoying the holiday season as best you can. This episode marks my final entry for 2021, and as the year comes to a close, I just wanted to thank all of you for sticking with me since 2017. I have so much footage to edit, and 2022 will be full of awesome episodes, so please make sure you're subscribed and following me on social media to get notifications. Links for everything are down below. But tonight, I'd like to show you all a property that never really had a chance to flourish. Ace and I visited this mall together, and while we were inside, the doors closed for the night behind us, but we were still walking around filming, playing a bit of cat and mouse with security. We were able to sneak into the sealed up anchor spaces, and even the movie theater. It was only after filming every square inch of this incredible mall that we quietly left when security caught up to us, escorting us out the door. So for your consideration, I present the Galleria at Pittsburgh Mills. But first, a word from our sponsor, the worldwide phenomenon that was Public Access TV's 1994 Christmas show. Enjoy.
Stood in moon glow, way up in the blue. It must have been moon glow that led me straight to you. Still have you saying, dear one, hold me fast. I started praying, oh Lord, please let this last. We do it right here. I always remember that moon glow.
Just worse Jesus. What's the way? My files.
Welcome to the Galleria at Pittsburgh Mills. The history for this mall doesn't quite go back as far as some other malls like, say, the Richland Mall in Columbia, South Carolina, which first began its life in 1961. Richland was ExLog 100, and if you haven't seen it yet, please make sure to check it out after you watch this episode. It's a legendary mall and a fantastic video. But Pittsburgh Mills is one of the few malls that were built after the new millennium, with its closest relative being Arundel Mills in Hanover, Maryland, which was built in 2000. But while the mall itself wasn't constructed until the early aughts, planning for the mall took a couple of decades. On Monday, January 5, 1981, it was announced in the Indiana Gazette that Johnstown, PA-based developer George D. Zamias was looking to build a $142 million shopping mall in suburban Pittsburgh, which would span over 1 million square feet and was to be called the Pittsburgh Galleria. The article goes on to state that Zamias was going to drop the project unless the county granted 10 years of tax diversions, which would be intended to help fund a $20 million interchange on the Allegheny Valley Expressway, which would serve the proposed mall's traffic. This site was ideal for a number of reasons, but after soil boring tests in 1980 and 81 passed, it showed that despite the area having some slight undermining, that it could support the weight of a two-story mall. By Sunday, May 1, 1983, the Pittsburgh Press reported that Zamias had scaled back plans for the Fraser Township Mall, which had come down in price to about $50 million and was renamed to the Spring Hill Mall. Groundbreaking for this mall was set to kick off in spring of 1984, with a tentative opening by fall of 1985. 1 week before the article was published, several of Zamias' 2-year property options expired, effectively dooming the project. But Zamias said the mall project would advance despite the landowners renewing or dropping the options. Zamias was hell-bent on building this mall in Fraser Township. A market feasibility study of the targeted area showed the northeast quadrant of the metropolitan Pittsburgh area to be the only section without a first-rate regional mall. He then paid for a study in the late 80s that showed residents in the area having to drive over 40 minutes to either Ross Park or Monroeville malls, where they were spending an estimated $90 million per year on merchandise. He wanted to tap into that money and publicly reaffirmed his plans on Sunday, March 27, 1988, when the Pittsburgh Press reported that Zamias' Pittsburgh Galleria project was back on. I really couldn't help but think of Century 3 Mall when I saw the New Dimensions comics. And this isn't the location that relocated from Century 3. The one at Century 3 relocated to the waterfront. But this is just another location. And since we were doing DMod and D, Dungeons and Dragons, on my Discord server, I had to stop in and pick a couple of things up.
DMod and D. Join the Discord server so you can play. It's fun. Okay, so like I said, D&D on the DMod server. I'm gonna get a new D20. Which one should I get? I'm feeling this one's cool. This one's super cool. I'm getting this one. I'm getting this one for DMod and D. What else should I get? I just asked the lady if this was legal to play in D&D, and she said yes. She said if it was up to the DM, you might be able to play that too. So much nerd stuff in here, I love it.
By Sunday, February 17, 1991, George Zamias announced that groundbreaking was imminent for a brand new $300 million mall in Fraser Township, Pennsylvania. The problem was, though, that the project was mired in controversy. The environmental impact studies hadn't been completed, the actual price for the mall wasn't yet resolved with the bank, and the loans issued for the development were set to expire before final approval would come in from PennDOT and the Department of Environmental Resources. Then 2 years later, during the 1993 election cycle, there were a few seats up in the air on the Board of Supervisors in Fraser Township, PA. On the Democratic side, there was incumbent Steven Mizera, who was against the project, but he lost to challenger Christine Heintzinger. At the time, Zimaitis wanted $20 million worth of road improvements before he would even think of building the mall. And despite residents fighting back at the polls, the political spectrum would be tipped in Zimaitis' favor. But the project would stall yet again for years. 5 years later, on Friday, February 20, 1998, the Indiana Gazette wrote an update piece on Zimaitis, who had just acquired 10 malls, including the Cranberry Mall in Venango County, increasing its portfolio to 45 malls across 17 states. Despite the article detailing how Damian Zimaitis recalled his father George calling their Indiana mall the Zimaitis flagship property, they were still actively pursuing their Pittsburgh Mall project, which had changed its name yet again, now called the Fraser Heights Galleria. By August of 1998, it was announced that the $20 million interchange that Zimaitis demanded the county build was now going to cost $35 million, and that Zimaitis would sell off bonds to help fund the project, which they would put in $25 million of their own cash. 1 month later, Fraser Township officials had announced new demands from Zimaitis in order to float bonds to pay for the interchange. These demands included Zimaitis helping pay for a new police department, and expanded fire protection and services which the officials contended were necessary to serve the proposed mall.
Ominous. I so wish I can get in there. What the hell is that? Is that a tongue? Ew! Touch it.
It's an Amdar tongue.
Wait, we should put that somewhere for later. Ah! Ah!
Into the new millennium, the Zimaitis Mall was still just a sparkle in the developer's eye. But in October of 2001, Damian Zimaitis would get a new backer for the project when the Mills Corp signed on as partner for the Fraser Township property. This was good news, since Zimaitis was fighting in bankruptcy court after they lost an $11.4 million lawsuit to American property consultants, who claimed that Zimaitis owed them money for helping them to form their shopping mall partnership in 1997. Getting the Mills Corp on board was exactly what this project needed in order to advance. They had a portfolio of malls that were doing incredibly well, and an attractive slate of malls they were set to begin construction on. Mills wanted to push ahead with the scale that Zimaitis had been fighting for over the last 2 decades, with a $250 million, 1.2 million square foot shopping and entertainment complex on the plot of land adjacent to Route 28, which was the same location Zimaitis had been eyeing. In 2002, Mills Corp executives took Fraser Township officials on a tour of their new Arundel Mills Mall, which had just opened in November of 2000. They were blown away by what they saw, and they agreed to fast-track the construction of the Pittsburgh property as a result.
Food court seats. That's tough, man. Where are they walking to? There's nothing open. So many storefronts and nothing is open. Not all that stuff, there's no way. There's no way all that stuff is open.
Dude, there's maybe 15 places open.
Maybe. Where are we?
We are
Here. Okay. There's nothing. Okay. So we're here. Nothing. Nothing. Couple. There's a Nerf battle place. That's it. Have a good night, darling.
It was around this point when the mall started closing for the night, and the guards were going around the 1-mile-long racetrack locking all the doors. It seemed they were ahead of us and couldn't see us walking behind them because every set of doors we found was locked, and the automatic sliding doors had been turned off. It was aggravating because of how long the mall is, and that the exits closer to mine and Ace's cars were all closed, which meant we would have to walk the perimeter of the mall to get back to them, and it was freezing out and Ace had shorts on for some reason. So we took advantage of the opportunity.
Shit.
As an avid dead mall explorer, I take each available opportunity to film every inch of the property to show you all. So I took this chance to F around with Ace a bit, while the guards couldn't see us, before we started spelunking a bit deeper into the abandoned anchor spaces in the theater.
He's so stupid.
Top of the morning. That's a beast. Cold like a dead mark.
Hey guys, my name is Ace's Adventures, and I'm doing a selfie for Instagram.
And I look down at my beard.
Such a good shot.
You
Artistic.
see that? You see that hole there? That's the size of your ass.
You're a hole. Ace hole. Now what the hell do you do with that? What are you supposed to do with that?
Don't make an ass out of yourself.
My name is Ace and I love Bass Pro Shops. And here in the wild, we see an ace in his element, waking from a slumber. He's getting content because he is contenticus creaticus for the internet. Oh. Now, I know that the mall is closed, and a lot of videos, they portray malls as dead when they film them at like mall walking hours or closed or whatever. But this place, Pittsburgh Mills, is legitimately this dead.
By now, the guards were all the way on the other side of the mall, and they had no clue we were even here. We were able to hear the guards' keys dangling as they walked around, and they were talking to each other, and when we got back here into the food court, we couldn't hear them anymore. It was also possible that they finished locking the doors and went back to the office.
God, I wish I could get in there.
So Ace and I dipped into the mall guts to try and find a way into the theater.
Oh.
And we did find our way into the theater. It was eerily quiet and seriously hot in there. But we felt uncomfortably exposed in the open parts like the lobby, and it was unclear exactly what the security guards were doing by this point, and we thought that they were probably going to pop out of nowhere at any moment. So we made our way back into the cinema guts in an effort to hide and explore. Just as an aside, I know that most people have seen movie theaters, but there was just something about getting to cross this liminal space that satisfied my own wanderlust. The theater looked so barren and lifeless without its screens, and it just kept compelling me further into the complex. The HVAC system was off, as it was throughout the rest of the mall, but there were fans running to push air around for some reason. But aside from the fans, I kept hearing this weird noise, like TV static or something, so I kept going deeper to try and find the source of that noise. The $340 million Galleria at Pittsburgh Mills opened at 9 a.m. on Thursday, July 14, 2005, with senior anchors JCPenney and Kaufman's, and a Sears Grand concept that would open just shortly after them. There were some local shoppers who were present at the ceremony who even brought along autograph books in the hopes that they would run into George Zimaius, who they all watched fight like hell for decades to get this mall built, only to hand the reins over to the Mills Corp. He never showed up. The mall also featured this 17-screen Cinemark movie theater with state-of-the-art 3D IMAX capabilities. The theater could accommodate 3,695 patrons, and part of the grand opening celebrations included a promotion admitting patrons to movies in exchange for 2 non-perishable food items per person. This Cinemark was noteworthy for housing a commercial IMAX theater with a dome-shaped screen measuring 43 feet by 72 feet. Before the Cinemark opened at Pittsburgh Mills, the only other place to have an IMAX experience was at the Carnegie Science Center, which prided itself in being an institutional theater with science at the front of their mission statement. But here, at the Cinemark and other general cinemas, movies showing at the time were Batman Begins, Lords of Dogtown, Wedding Crashers, Fantastic Four, War of the Worlds, Cinderella Man, The Devil's Rejects, and Star Wars Episode III, Revenge of the Sith. Back then, a standard ticket was $7.50, and IMAX tickets were $8.50. For reference, just days before this ExLog was published, I paid $25 each for Cinemark XD D-Box tickets to The Matrix Resurrections, worth every penny. After hiding in the office for a bit, we waited to see if the guards were nearby, and when it was clear, we darted across to the shuttered Hula Hands restaurant and Johnny Rockets.
Oh my God. Oh God, it stinks. Oh Jesus Christ, it stinks so bad. Oh my God, it smells so bad. See the spiderweb? Spiderweb? See it? It's like every mall, I find a massive spiderweb. Oh God, this place stinks. This is disgusting. Truly disgusting. There's space heaters all over the place? Yeah. That's how they lose malls. Oof. Not mine. Look at that. Everywhere you look, there's space heaters. That's so dangerous. There's another one over there. Anybody thirsty? Oh, this is Johnny Rockets, eh? Oof. Ugh. Ew. Ew. Ugh. That's disgusting. Oh, cool. Check it out. Another space heater.
Just like the fans pushing air around in the movie theater, the space heaters in the shuttered restaurant were just really weird. I couldn't justify any reason to attempt keeping the place heated since it was unoccupied, and while the smell of spilled beer and stale frying oil were obvious, there was also a weird electric smell in there. But we felt like the guards were either gone or distracted by this point, so we started walking around the concourse with a bit more confidence. Just one day before Pittsburgh Mills opened, on July 13, 2005, shareholders of Kaufmann's parent company, May Department Stores, agreed to be acquired by Federated Department Stores. The Kaufmanns at Pittsburgh Mills would be the last built in the chain, and on August 30, 2005, the merger between May and Federated was completed at a whopping $17 billion. Macy's dissolved the Kaufmann's organization on February 1, 2006, and then fully retired the Kaufmann's nameplate on September 9 later that year. Around this time, the Pittsburgh Mills location was converted over to a Macy's. But just as Macy's was opening at Pittsburgh Mills, the Securities and Exchange Commission was informally looking at the Mills Corp for what they called accounting problems. By March 24 of that year, the SEC had launched a formal investigation, giving the agency the power to subpoena officials at the Mills Corp and company documents. In just that past year, the Mills had restated their earnings twice, delayed 3 earnings reports, written off 10 projects, and fired nearly 10% of their workforce. They were in serious trouble, and they really had no way to pull through this. On May 22, news broke that the Mills Corp was entertaining bids for Pittsburgh Mills, which immediately sparked the interest of Zamias, who had successfully exited bankruptcy in 2004 and was flying high on their nascent success, and wanted the mall that evaded them for nearly 3 decades. Then, by October, it was announced that Mills CEO Lawrence Siegel had retired with a $2.5 million severance package, who would receive an additional $10.5 million if the company was sold off by 2007. As the company was looking for a buyer, Mark Orden was appointed the interim chief executive. Shortly after this leadership change, it was announced that Zamias had officially purchased Pittsburgh Mills for an undisclosed amount. But looking back through tax documents, it reveals that Zamias took out a $133 million loan through Wells Fargo in 2006, which was used to purchase Pittsburgh Mills. By 2007, Pittsburgh Mills was valued at $190 million, and while it was only about 70 to 80% occupied, Zamias was in a pretty fantastic position at this point. But the Mills Corp was drowning in debt and had agreed to accept a complete buyout from Toronto-based Brookfield Asset Management for $21 per common share. But after losing $350 million from an accounting error, Mills was entertaining other offers, and finally closed a deal with the Indianapolis-based Simon Property Group, who would acquire Mills for $25.25 per common share of stock. The deal closed on April 6, 2007. As such, all Mills properties were now Simon branded, except for one. Pittsburgh Mills is the only mall that never became a Simon property since it was purchased by Zamias before the Mills-Simon merger. Into the 2010s, the mall just wasn't seeing the kind of success that was forecasted, despite its $190 million assessment in the late aughts. With more tenants vacating the property, some non-retail businesses would begin to occupy the space, such as an ITT Technical Institute, which opened in 2010. It was also around this time that a Great Wolf Resort, which is a chain of indoor water parks, was in talks to open near the mall, which would have been great to help drive traffic. But those plans fell through later that year. By 2012, the mall was below 70% occupancy, and by 2014, it was below 50% occupancy. At this point in the night, Ace and I were pretty confident that the security guards had no clue we were even in there. So we went into some more mall guts to see if we can get into the Shutter, JCPenney, and Sears Grand Spaces. We definitely got into both this JCPenney and the Sears Grand, so stick with me. JCPenney was going through some massive issues, starting in the 2010s, as most retailers had already embraced a robust internet presence. Seemingly way behind, JCPenney decided to shutter its catalog business and relative catalog outlet stores in January of 2011. 1 month later, the New York Times published an article which detailed a shady scheme that JCPenney was employing to spam links to their website all across the internet, which was intended to give them a higher rank in Google search results. This actually worked, but Google quickly became wise to the scheme, and they took action against JCPenney in the form of manually reducing the visibility of the chain in search results, which affected sales dramatically.
Oh my. It's the mall PA system.
Oh, hi, Sal. Is that you? You came to see me at my house. This is like my apartment. This is where I live 2-3 days out the year. Oh, I would have made the place nicer had I known you were coming. Oh, look at you, explorer, looking all in the back market. I'll talk to you later, Sal.
Later in 2011, JCPenney had brought in Ron Johnson as the new CEO, who had led Apple retail stores during their height of growth.
What the hell were they training in here?
By January of 2012, Michael Kramer, who was the chief operating officer for Penny's at the time,
It's creepy.
had revealed that over 30% of the company's bandwidth at its headquarters was used to just watch YouTube videos.
All this stuff they just couldn't sell.
As a result, Kramer fired 1,600 employees in an attempt to shift the company's culture. But things just got worse. By April that year, a few hundred more employees at HQ were fired, and they closed their Pittsburgh call center. On September 4 of 2012, Penny's market value had fallen 37%, down to $2.7 billion, and they were kicked out of the S&P index after 55 years. By 2014, JCPenney shares were falling sharply, and the company announced it was closing 33 underperforming stores and laying off 2,000 employees. By November in 2014, Marvin Ellison was brought in as the new CEO, having served as an executive at Home Depot. Then in 2015, Penny's announced another 39 stores to be closing, with 2,250 employees being laid off in the process.
I found it. This was the shady massage parlor at JCPenney's. This was it.
Right now, we're in the Sears Grand space, which closed in 2015. Sears Grand was a strange concept for a retailer like Sears. Back in 2004, Sears was in the process of acquiring 54 Kmart stores and 7 Walmarts for $620 million in cash. This move was part of their effort to expand the Sears brand to more of a big box format to compete on a broader scale with some off-mall brands.
This is incredible.
Sears Grand stores would offer the same things that normal Sears department stores would sell, but they would also sell groceries like frozen foods, dairy items, pet foods, and household cleaners. But they wouldn't sell baked goods or meat or fresh produce. It was limited to stuff that was shelf stable and some dairy products. Then on November 17, 2004, Kmart Holdings Corp. Acquired Sears Roebuck & Co. for $11 billion, creating the new Sears Holdings Corporation. After the acquisition, the company launched yet another concept called Sears Essentials, which was basically just an excuse on paper to slightly renovate some Kmarts, rebranding them to the Sears Essentials format. Most of these were rebranded to Sears Grand, with others just closing. After this move, it became clear to consumers which stores were officially built as Sears Grand and which were Kmarts that were just converted. The ones that were converted from Kmarts just had a much cheaper feel. I actually covered the entire history of Sears Roebuck & Co. in ExLog 35 when I toured the abandoned Sears at the Century 3 Mall in West Mifflin, PA. So if you want the more detailed account for the parent company of the Sears Grand concept, go check that episode out. I'll put a card for that video right now. But by the 2010s, Sears was losing money left and right. They lost over $10 billion in just a few years between 2011 and 2016. But by 2014, the company's total debt was over $4 billion against its market capitalization of just $974 million. Through the mid-2010s, Sears had shrunken down from 3,500 stores down to only 695, which included this Sears Grand, which closed on Sunday, January 18, 2015. Around the same time that this Sears Grand closed, the mall gained a new tenant in the food court, which was a 32-foot aerial Sky Trail Explorer attraction, which was an adventure rope course suspended high up over the food court, open for all ages. It featured rope ladders and cargo nets to climb, a zigzag beam that you'd balance and traverse across, a plank that you could leap off of, and a zip line. To be honest, it sounds like a blast, and I would have been all over that thing. If any of you that are local to this mall actually got to mess around on that thing, let me know in the comments if it was as fun as I think it would have been. Later in 2015, Zamias was struggling to repay Wells Fargo, and they now owed about $143 million on the $133 million that they took out in 2006. So the bank foreclosed on the mall, which had been appraised that year at only $11 million. By 2016, ITT Tech had shut down all of their 130 campuses after the US Department of Education had them under investigation for misuse of students' federal aid. As a result, the Pittsburgh Mills location had shuttered, which diminished traffic to the mall dramatically. Those students liked to walk around the mall. They got stuff to eat, they did some light shopping, and taking students away from a mall really detracts from it. The foreclosure proceedings came to a dramatic close in 2017 when it was announced that the mall was sold for just $100. As wild as this sounds, it's actually not true. The mall was put up for auction with a starting bid of $100 by its owner, Wells Fargo. But nobody showed up to the auction, and the mall simply remained under Wells Fargo, who kept the mall after paying the $100 as a formality to the court. That fall, the SkyTrail ceased operations on Sunday, October 15. In May of 2018, the mall was sold again to Namdar Realty through their partner Mason Asset Management for $12 million. By late 2019, the mall had about a dozen stores open, and then COVID hit. In May of 2020, Cinemark announced that they wouldn't be reopening after the pandemic, and by October, the JCPenney was shuttered. While there's a few things open at the mall right now, with the Macy's and Dick's Sporting Goods still anchoring, I don't expect a happy ending for the Galleria at Pittsburgh Mills, especially under Namdar's ownership. But we'll see, right? Also, I just want to try to clear something up. I've heard rumors that the movie theater actually did reopen despite Cinemark saying that it would stay closed. So for you locals out there, let me know in the comments what's going on with the movie theater. I haven't seen anything conclusive, but I'd love to know.
Attention shoppers and just Sal and Ace and just whoever else might be in here. It's story time and Christmas Eve, and I was handed a thing I need to read to you to tell you all bedtime stories. So listen up. 'Twas the night before Christmas when all through the house not a creature was stirring, not even Uncle Mike who lives on the couch. What the hell is this? Isn't the story where it goes? What are you having me read for everybody? Sorry, everybody. I don't know what the hell to make me read here. I'm not gonna read it. I won't be forced to read a bad story to you all. But Santa Claus is watching, don't you know? Don't you be bad, you naughty. It's like 3 o'clock in the morning, boys. What the hell are you two still doing here, you bad boys, you? Such mischievous boys. I told security to let you guys out since all the doors are locked, and they should help you naughty boys get out shortly. Merry Christmas, everybody. Don't you just love Pittsburgh Mills? It's so empty. Thank you so much, buddy. Thank you for coming, and have a Happy New Year, everyone. What was it with the Max Headroom guy? He was so scary. I'm frightened. I just shit myself looking at him. I gotta go clean up. I see you all in 2022. Bye!
Thanks for watching, everyone. Also, thank you to my patrons and elite explorers, and to all of my new subscribers. Also, just another quick shout out to the awesome security at Pittsburgh Mills for being so cool and just letting us out and not making a fuss. You guys rock. Thanks again. If you're still watching and you haven't subbed yet, I think you should probably just do it. Also, please be sure to follow me on all of my social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and my Discord, home of DMod. In 2022, we're going to be kicking off more gaming nights on the Discord server, including some more DMod and D campaigns. So make sure you join. Links for everything are below. It's really easy to join the Discord. You just go to discord.gg/dmod, get your account set up, and then answer 2 questions from a moderator, and then you'll be able to see the entire server. I'll see you all in 2022 with some awesome new content. In the meantime, please stay safe out there, everyone. Have a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, a wonderful New Year, and to all, a good night.
I always remember that moment.
Just worse. Jesus. That's the way. Oh, my
Yeah.